Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Creative Podcast. It is your host here, Kayla. Today, we are going to be talking about relationships again. This episode did pretty freaking well the first time around, so I'm going to be spilling my beans, giving all of my advice about relationships and such, because I have had quite a bit of experience in the department, I must say, for a 20-year-old girl. So, to kick things off, we're going to open with the opening line, which is kind of a long one, and I want to post the graphic of this on Instagram. This is actually a graphic that I found on Pinterest, so for you to better understand it, just head on over to the Instagram at Creative Podcast to figure out what I'm saying. But I think this is really important, so I decided to share. It says, let your heart and mind have daily conversations. Questions like, is this what I want? Can equal, is this what I stand for? So on the heart end, it would be, is this what I want? And then on the mind end, you could translate that into, is this what I stand for? Your heart could ask something like, what do I want out of life? And your mind could ask, how does this feel for me? So kind of connecting those two sides and like those two translations of questions, I feel like is really important, because some people are like, follow your heart. And then some people are like, I only follow my mind. I never follow my heart. Your heart will like lead you astray. But I think it's possible for both of them to work together and for both of them to kind of lead you along the right path in your life. So that's why I wanted to share that. And if you don't understand what the heck I just said, it will be on the Instagram, so you could look at the graphic, which is a better visualization and portrayal of the actual quote. So just wanted to pop in and say, we went from 650 listeners to over 700 in the past 2 weeks. And I am so freaking thankful. And I'm so happy to have all of you new, beautiful faces and ears here, okay? And yeah, thank you so much for listening and always sharing with your friends. I really, really appreciate it. I see you guys. And a little bit more about me. I do YouTube. I do this podcast. Both of them bi-weekly because I am a full-time college student and I'm also starting to work, but we'll get into that later. So yeah, if you want to, rate and review this podcast on Apple and Spotify, and I look forward to growing our little community to be a little bit bigger. So let's get into the intro. All right, so to set the scene, today is Friday, September 23rd. I'm going to try my best to continue to post these episodes on Friday. I know I've been a little bit inconsistent with what days I'm posting these episodes, but I have been posting them bi-weekly, and I'm very proud of myself for that. Patting myself on the back a million times because it is super hard for me to stay consistent with things. But I'm going to try keeping these going on Friday, dropping the episodes on Friday, so then I have time to promote over the weekend and stuff like that. But anyways, I'm currently sitting in a closet. Don't know if that's helping the audio out, but I don't know. I've always been drawn to sitting in closets for private, quiet time, so that's what I'm doing. Today is following the first day of fall. The autumn equinox happened yesterday, the 22nd. So that day was, I think they said it was the daytime and the nighttime was like equal amounts. Usually it's not equal amounts, but it was like an equal amount of time for day and night. Don't know if any of you all felt that, but I certainly did. The day and the night was dragging on for forever, but it's fine. It's autumn. Happy fall, everyone. I am super freaking excited for fall. This is not a fall related episode because I don't want to wear myself out with the fall related episodes or make you guys tired of all the fall related episodes, But I don't know, fall is just super freaking fun. I also have a bottle of water and a box of hot and spicy Cheez-Its. And did you guys know that hot and spicy Cheez-Its are no longer made with Tabasco? I did not notice that until I got this box. They used to be made with Tabasco, which is a type of hot sauce, if you don't know, and now they're not. They're made with some off-brand something, and the taste is definitely different. I definitely see it. But anyways, yeah, enough about my surroundings, sitting in the closet in the dark. We're gonna get into the highs and the lows for the past couple of weeks. A lot has been going on, guys. A lot. Okay, for one, I didn't have a car for a while because, as you all know, I got into a car accident. Okay, yeah, but I was fine. You know, I was safe. I was healthy. Everything was fine. My car just was not completely wrecked. So I was carless for a minute, and honestly, at first, I felt like I think I had expressed this in the last podcast. I had felt like a loss of independence and like I was a bum, which is probably not a good word to use, but you know, that's how I felt. And I just felt like, I don't know, a lack of motivation just overall. But about 2 weeks ago, I just kind of felt like for once in my life, I was kind of the least reliable person in the room. You know, I didn't have a ton of money. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a car. You know, pretty much all I was doing was school and social media. And, you know, people in life, you know, tend to find people who have jobs and cars and blah, blah, blah to be reliable and responsible and blah, blah, blah. I don't know why, but, you know, that's just the way the world works, at least in America. So not being someone that people felt like they could rely on in certain ways, and I couldn't be asked to do much because obviously I didn't have a car to do much. And I just wasn't being like held responsible for a whole lot of things outside of myself. It honestly felt good. Like it felt good not being someone that other people needed to lean on, you know, not having to run to the store for someone in my family and get them something, or pick things up for people, or like pick up my siblings, you know, like that type of thing. Not feeling like I had to be responsible and I could just like kind of laze around and act like an at-home daughter, you know, a stay-at-home daughter. It's just, I don't know, it's a different type of feeling. So if you feel like you're in that place where you're like not super reliable or whatever, and I'm putting air quotes around that because not having all of these things doesn't mean that you're not a reliable person. It's just like that's how other people may see you, but that doesn't necessarily like define you, if that makes sense. So yeah, I was able to flip that thought into a more positive one. Recently I have been shopping a lot. And this is a high and a low, you know, it's a low for my bank account. It's a low for my wallet, my budget. You know, I literally just got a job, which is another high, but we'll get further into that later. So I don't have the thickest amount of money right now, but I feel like I've been using shopping as a bit of a coping mechanism. And I need to stop. I really do need to stop. But I've got so many cute things like on clearance. I will tell you, a lot of the stores in the mall and stuff are marking things down like super low because they're trying to get rid of it. They're trying to bring in their fall and their winter inventory. So they're trying to get rid of like the summer stuff. But as someone who lives in Florida, it's kind of like summer year round. It barely gets cold down here. So buying a few pieces that are not like super thick and warm isn't really a big deal for me because like I can still wear it. So I've been getting stuff cheap girlies. Okay, I have, and yeah, I don't know, it's been a lot of fun, but also I need to stop. The other day I played hooky from school for the first time, and I probably shouldn't be saying this on the podcast because, you know, future employers and blah 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 can probably hear this, but I don't care. it was one day, my friend and I just looked at each other and she was like, we should just work at a cafe all day. We should skip school. And I was like, you know what? I do have a lot of things that I need to sort through. I do have a lot on my mind. I could stand to have a little bit of a break from school. So that's what I did. I allowed it. And then we went shopping after we left the cafe, which we probably shouldn't have done. And then we went to Chick-fil-A. It was a wonderful day. But playing hooky from school, don't beat yourself up about it, especially if you're like a super duper intense scholarly type of student. Like, honestly, one day of school is not gonna kill you. Especially if you're not doing midterms or anything like that. Missing a day once in a while, is much needed. Sometimes we need a little mental break from that scholarly student life. So yeah. Okay, next. My birthday is coming up. I know. These highs are super long this week, but I'm so freaking excited. My birthday is literally next week, October 1st. That's right, I am a Libra baby, a Libra queen. I'm so freaking hyped. I'm gonna be 21 years old. I could finally legally drink in the United States of America. As you know, this is one of the only countries on this planet where you can't get a drink until you're 21. But now I can, and I'm so hyped for it. I definitely don't look 21, so I'm definitely probably gonna get ID'd pretty much everywhere I go. But that's totally fine. It's fine. I'm just happy to finally be of age. I'm happy to be getting into that new phase of adult that's like, okay, she's grown. Like, she can go get a drink, she can go to the club. She's grown. Like, she's not just a silly little kid anymore, When you're under 21, when you're between 18 and 21, legally you're an adult, but most people, at least in my experience, don't really recognize you as a full adult. They're just kind of like, oh, you're an adult, but you're a kid type of thing. But once you get over 21, people start losing track of your age, and you just start, growing up, and they're like, oh shoot, she's an actual adult, and I can actually respect her as one. So anyways, yeah, super excited for my birthday. We'll be probably posting some birthday pics on the podcast Instagram and my personal very, very soon. Okay, next thing. Oh gosh, this is taking forever. I'm so sorry, but these are my life updates. This is the real deal, y'all. I got a new car. Okay, her name is Meg. Megara is her full name. I've kind of been obsessed with the name Megara. I have this running list of girl names, names that I would want to name my children of the future, my daughters. But Megara, I heard from a few different sources, was just not a good one. I personally love the name, but a lot of people told me that it's not a good name for a child. So I decided to name my car Megara because I need to feed this obsession. I need to lay it to rest, So Meg, for short, she is a black 2014 Volkswagen. Okay, she's very sleek, very classy, you know what I'm saying? And I love her. I did buy her used, so she has a little things, a little itches and scratches here and there, but overall, I'm happy with my decision. At first, I was a little bit hesitant about my decision because I was like, oh gosh, these problems are coming up, should I just take the car back? But I really don't feel like I should take it back. I really feel like it is a good quality car, and sure, it might have a few little fixer-upper parts of it, but it's nothing major, and it's nothing that's stopping me from driving or anything like that. It's just not necessarily how I wanted to buy the car. I wanted to buy the car fully good, set up, ready to go, everything in working order type of thing. But just, sometimes those things just don't happen, and that's okay. Okay, the last high for the week is I am employed, hunties. I am employed. I'm not going to disclose where I'm employed yet, but it's very exciting opportunities happening. Just in case my employer does end up finding this and listening to it somehow, I'm gonna keep it a secret, but I will share it with you all sooner or later. Yeah, I feel like I was really ready to start working again. That was like an important thing to me. I didn't want to feel like I wanted to get a job just because I felt pressured to by other people, or just because I didn't have money. But like, I genuinely wanted to get a job. Like, I genuinely did all of the searching, like I said on the last episode, and like threw in a lot of applications for places that I genuinely wanted to work. So yeah, new job, new journey, you feel me? New money, because Lord knows I do need it. I do need it. I'm not gonna lie. However, I didn't want that to be the determining factor for me getting a job. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the lows for the week. The lows, on the flip side of what I first said during the high section, is I envy people who don't appreciate the blessing that is irresponsibility and ignorance. I feel like irresponsibility and ignorance have such negative connotations, and people are always like, oh, you shouldn't be irresponsible, oh, you shouldn't be ignorant, blah, 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 but like, honestly, irresponsibility and ignorance are bliss. Like, those two combined, absolute bliss. Like, babe, you don't have to figure out where your next meal is coming from. Like, you don't have to worry about that. Like, you don't have to worry about how you're going to get to work, because you just know that, like, somebody's going to drop you off, and, like, it's whatever. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, there's a big blessing in having things and having people to have responsibility over. But at the same time, like, if you are in a space in your life where you feel like you don't have a lot of responsibilities and you feel like you're beating yourself up over it, don't beat yourself up over not having responsibilities. Like, that was the first thing that I wanted to do, as soon as I got into my accident and I lost my car. But, like, it really just doesn't make any sense to, like, I have always been someone who has felt like I had to be responsible, as the oldest child in my family. It's just natural. It's a natural thing for you to have to feel like a caretaker every now and again for your younger siblings and things like that. But like, not having to deal with those types of things, it's just like be grateful for it. I know it doesn't seem like something you should be grateful for, but be grateful for it. Because, like, it's so hard for me to just relax and to just not have things on my mind that I need to do or that I need to worry about. Like, every single day, I wake up with, like, a mental to-do list. Even if I don't even get through the things in the day that I want to get through, it's still on my mind, like, as I'm going to sleep. And I'm like, okay, the next day I need to do, like, it's exhausting, to be honest, which leads me to my next point. I have been exhausted lately, between interviewing for jobs, getting my car, and planning my birthday party, which all sounds like, amazing things, and they are all amazing things, and I am very privileged to be exhausted from those things. However, I'm still exhausted. I'm still tired. So today I took a little bit of a rest day, and just kind of like lounged around, didn't do anything, haven't taken a shower. This is one of the most impactful things I'm doing today. But over the course of this week, I have been busy every single day, like every day. Almost nonstop. So I'm very happy to just have a day where I'm resting, to just have a day where I'm relaxing a little bit. I'm not really too pressed or worried about much, besides for starting on my hair, because it's my birthday next week. Like, I need to have my hair did. Like, it needs to be done. So yeah, I want to have that done starting off this week, because I know I'll get busy throughout the week and I won't have time later on in the week. Anyways, last low is I am having to continuously reassure myself that the decisions I'm making in my life are valid, and I shouldn't be afraid to make mistakes along the way. Between other people being hard on me and me being hard on myself, it's like the worst combination for me. And I feel like my decisions oftentimes aren't valid, and when people question my decisions, I instantly get like defensive because it bothers me that I can't that not that I can't, but that I don't feel the amount of confidence that I should in my decisions, which is something that I have to work on, and it's something that'll take time. And I'm just trying to become better at like taking constructive criticism for my decisions, but also not letting it determine what decisions I'm making in my life, if that makes sense. So taking and asking for constructive criticism has definitely been a big thing for me. And like reassuring myself through the process of decision making, especially when it comes to big decisions like purchasing a car and deciding where to work, you know, and standing up for myself as well, like not letting people question my decisions deconstructively, if that makes sense. So there's a difference between being constructive and deconstructive. Some people have just the urge to be deconstructive and kind of like break down your decision in a way that's kind of like negative and like, oh, why are you making that choice? Like, that doesn't seem like the smartest option type of thing, you know, kind of talking down on you a little bit. So I'm kind of learning how to like stand up for myself when I do feel strongly about things, but also be open to constructive criticism. So yeah, moving on to goals for the week, and then we will get into the thick of this episode because I have been talking for almost 20 minutes. Goals for this week are to make sure that everything is prepared for my party that is next weekend. I'm having a party Friday night. I'm very excited. I'm having just a few people over, not at my house, some other location that will not be disclosed as of right now. And yeah, it's going to be like a pretty and pink theme. I asked everyone to come in like pink, like Olive Garden type attire, you know, nothing too formal, semi-formal, but comfortable, you know. And I'm going to be decked out in pink, and all of the decorations are going to be pink, and I'm trying to make the food as pink as possible. And girl, it's just, I know I'm going to have a ball. I've been stressing over it for the past month pretty much, but I think things are coming together. It's my first time planning and executing a party for myself, so I'm really freaking excited, and I hope that I enjoy it. And I have definitely gotten better about like asking for and taking help from people, because I'm very much so like a DIY girl, a DIY queen, you know. I'm gonna do it myself at the end of the day, but my friends have been very nice and like asking me if I need help with certain things, and my family have been very nice. And I've been taking them up on the offers, because planning a party and hosting a party is a lot of work, child. Let me be the first one to tell you. Okay, so I'm looking forward to that, and I hope that it goes well. Next week, I also want to stay on top of my assignments. This week, because so much was going on, I did skip a couple assignments here and there on top of skipping school. It was just not a very academic week for me. I'm not gonna lie. I did as much as I could to the best of my ability. And I do want to kind of take that into the next following weeks. I feel like sometimes I like overthink doing homework and assignments a little bit too much, and I'm like, oh, I have to be in a certain setting to do my homework, and oh, I have to like be in a certain mindset to do my homework, blah blah blah. But like, honestly, I just have to stop overthinking and just get it done. Sometimes I just need to just open the computer. If it's 11:30, it's 11:30, and it's due at 11:59, you know, whatever. Just try my best and at least get something in instead of just like skipping it. So that's something I realized this week. But yeah, that's one of my top goals, is to make sure I stay on top of my assignments. And then finally, I just want to have the best birthday ever. Honestly, you only turn 21 once. It's a great time to celebrate your birthday. If you are turning 21 or one of those milestone ages, please do not hesitate to do so. And even if you're not turning a milestone age, celebrate your birthday, because honestly, not enough people do. Not enough people, especially our age, like Gen Z, not enough people throw birthday parties or like have birthday gatherings and stuff like that. I feel like, at least in my friend circle, like my friend group was ecstatic to hear that I was having a birthday party because people just don't have them anymore. And it's crazy to think, but it's 100% true. So if your birthday is coming up, think of having a little something. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant or crazy, but at least gathering with a group of people that you love and celebrating and, singing that corny happy birthday song and waiting awkwardly for people to stop singing to you and blowing out a little candle. It's fun. It's fun. Just go for it. Trust me, you will enjoy the experience, especially if it's with people that you love. So that is it for my highs, lows, goals, and setting the scene for this week. This portion of the podcast is getting kind of thick. I don't know. I might trim down on it. But now let's get into the relationship advice, what you all are here for. All right, so I have some questions from Reddit that I'm going to be answering with my personal advice. Traditionally, I would ask these questions over on the Instagram, again, at Creative Podcast, but honestly, I don't get much reception on there when I ask for questions and stuff like that, which is totally fine because we are still budding and blooming over here. So this is how I will be taking questions as of right now. I've just been feeling the urge to give advice recently. And nobody's asking me for any, so I'm just gonna start giving some unsolicited, but it's fine. So here we go. Let me take a sip of water. Okay, so the very first one is, I, a 24-year-old female, always end up spending more on dates than him, a 26-year-old male. Boy, have I been there. Let me tell you, it gets old, and it gets old quick. Me personally, I don't care too much about like money and how much money you have and like how much money you're working with, blah blah blah. It doesn't bother me that much as long as we can have a good time together, as long as you're not being sour about how much money either one of us have. Even if you as a female are making more than him as a male, and this is obviously geared towards straight relationships, as long as he's not sour about you making more than him or anything like that, honestly, it's workable. It's fixable. He just has to put in a little more effort sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Both of you have to put in a little bit more effort. But, yeah, my biggest thing I would say is try suggesting having cheap or free dates. Google is your best friend. Pinterest is your best friend. You can find a gajillion cheap and free date ideas on the internet. Trust me, I have scoured it and I have made a cohesive list. And if you want that list, buy my course for $29.99 a month. I'm kidding. I can do an episode on good date ideas if you guys want. But yeah, you can try and start planning some cheaper dates, and then maybe he'll get the memo and start planning some cheaper dates. And if he doesn't get the memo, because honestly a lot of straight guys just don't, then you can suggest to him that he plans some cute little cheap dates. It's about the thought that you put into it and the effort that you put into it, like making cute little crafts together or painting in the park or having a little picnic. It's a lot of things that can be done that are not hard, that are not costly, and that are not extremely timely that you two can enjoy together. And I also suggest that every once in a while you do try and go the extra mile and do something fancier that might cost a little bit more, because after all, you are saving a ton of money doing cheaper dates, and you do want to kind of get out of your comfort zone every now and again. Sorry for the notifications. You do want to get out of your comfort zone every now and again and, experience something new, experience something that might be a little bit further away from where you guys live or something like that. But just make sure that all the bills do not fall into your lap, because that's really unfair. And just try and like reflect on how you feel about the situation, you personally, not taking what I'm saying and like projecting it onto yourself, reflect on how you really feel. And try and kindly express to him how it makes you feel. I think that straight guys, connect more with how their actions make you feel than general criticisms about their actions being wrong, if that makes sense. Like, if you just walk up to him and be like, you never pay for any dates and I'm sick of it and blah blah blah, he's gonna be like, whoa, like, where is this coming from? But if you sit him down and you're like, hey, I feel like I have been spending a little bit more on dates, using I statements definitely help. Could you maybe think of some dates that we can do together that are a little bit cheaper? Put a little bit of initiative on his end so you're not the only one planning out cheap and free dates, because I have done that. I would be the only one thinking of date ideas that were cheap and free, and he'd just be like along for the ride type of thing. Like, no, involve him in the process of deciding what you guys do together and get excited about it. Like, don't cut him out of the process, if that makes any sense. Which is especially easy because if you're spending the majority of the money on the dates, it's easy to just be like, okay, well, if I'm spending the money, then I need to be deciding what we do. Like, no, bring him into the process, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's my first line of advice. I hope I'm doing good. Let me know if I'm doing good, because I have no idea, honestly. I'm 20 years old, soon to be 21, and there's only so much dating experience that I've had, but I feel like I have a solid head on my shoulders about it. So, okay, next is, I rejected a guy and he wants to know why. What reason should I give? So, first and foremost, oh my gosh, I need to mute these notifications. I'm so sorry. I am a popular girl today. No, I'm not. It's just a group chat. Yeah, do not disturb, please. Okay. Anyways, I rejected a guy and he wants to know why. What reason should I give? First, ask yourself why you're rejecting him. Also know that you don't really owe anyone an explanation about how you feel, but it is a kindness to let him know how you feel anyway. Because sometimes people seek outside criticism and perspective, especially in dating. Now, if they seem like the insecure type who just wants to kind of like feed their insecurity based on why you might not like them, I have definitely been that person, that insecure person who has been like, why don't you like me? I need to know why so then I can like fix myself. Like, no, that ain't healthy. That ain't healthy. You don't have to feed into that if you don't want to. But just, I don't know, kindly letting him know how you feel, you actually knowing how you feel, and not just being like, oh, he ugly. Like, that's very surface level. Like, okay, what let's go a little bit deeper there. Don't just be like, you're ugly. Like, that's really mean. Don't do that. You would hate for someone to do that to you. Trust me, it's happened to me before. Middle school Kayla is crying. But yeah, think a little bit deeper, know how you feel about the situation, and kindly tell him. He wants to know why, tell him why. Don't make up some shitty reason, why don't you want to go out with me? I think you're a really great girl. Oh, well, I have a dog that's sick right now and I just don't have time for, that's BS. We don't dish out BS over here. So yeah, don't do that. Next question is, how to get over someone who never wanted a relationship to begin with. Oh boy. Okay. So if you find yourself to be a girly who is a little bit more into, hookup culture, dating apps, things of that nature, and you find yourself catching feelings for someone who doesn't want a committed relationship, it can be tough. It can definitely be tough. Or even if you're not even in the hookup scene and you just meet someone and you vibe really well, you end up catching feelings, you want a relationship with them, and they're just like, it can hurt. It can hurt, okay? Take it from a sensitive lover girl, and I mean that in the best sense possible, because us sensitive lover girls are amazing, okay? It can definitely hurt your little feelings. However, you can't change anything about that person and what they think they are ready for right now in their life. And honestly, like, don't hold out hope. Like, if you've spoken about relationships and committing to each other, and they said that it's just definitely not something that they're ready for anytime soon, don't don't sit around and cross your fingers and be like, well, maybe I'm the exception. Maybe I'm the person that they've been waiting for to change their mind. I mean, things like that do happen, but it's very, very rare. So be content with wherever you're at with each other. And if you want something more, and if you want a certain level of commitment that that person isn't ready for, then, I'm sorry to tell you, that person just might not be for you right now. It might be right person, wrong time, or it might be right time for you, wrong person. You know what I'm saying? It can happen both ways. So definitely don't be afraid to just kind of slowly move out of that space. When I was experiencing this, at first I was like, oh, I could convince him, he can definitely he could be the one. I was in my Hannah Montana phase. I was like, oh yeah, this guy, he may not be ready. He wasn't verbally telling me that he wasn't ready. So I'm thinking like, he might not be ready. I was seeing the signs that he wasn't ready, but I was just telling myself, oh no, girly, he just might be a little bit slower than others, but you can convince him. No, you can't convince anyone that they're ready for a relationship. So don't even try it. Literally don't even waste your time. So, yeah, that's a tough situation. It's a tough situation. And if you're feeling hurt by it, and if you're feeling like a certain amount of rejection and insecurity from that rejection, like, just know it will definitely pass. There are other fish in the sea. As we like to say, there are 7 billion people in this world. Trust me, the one who isn't ready for a relationship is giving you the opportunity to meet the person that is. So yeah, think of it as a win, not a complete loss. Okay, next question is, what should I do to be able to hold/start a conversation without coming off as strange or boring? I'm going to tailor this. Well, I guess I won't tailor this specifically to speaking with the opposite sex, but like, it just makes the most sense if you're thinking of it in that way. The advice that I'm giving. So, excuse me, I am extremely burpy today. Okay. If you're worrying about sounding odd or boring, then honestly, maybe you should take a step back and practice having smaller conversations with strangers and see how that goes. I definitely had to build up my conversational confidence this way. Like, it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to have like this big, epic, life-changing conversation with someone in specific. It was just that I usually would feel like, sorry, I had to take a little pause, but I am back. So, as I was saying, what was I saying? Oh, yes. Build your conversational confidence. Sometimes it's just really easy to like overthink. Trust me, I know, social anxiety. You get really down on yourself and you're just like, I have nothing important to say. Like, I have no idea what to say. Am I boring? Am I really weird? I only want to talk about like weird things. But honestly, just talk about things that genuinely interest you and pique your curiosity, or things that you may have in common with someone else. This works especially well with strangers at work, in the grocery store. You don't have to talk about the regular, office talk, I like to call it, which I hate. It's just like the weather is so crazy today. It's raining so hard. Oh my gosh. Yeah, traffic was so backed up this morning. Because, like, these types of conversations, they are conversations, but they're the ones that feel kind of forced and, like, The other person engaging in the conversation with you, 9 times out of 10, like, won't feel like the conversation is genuine, and they won't really get a feel for who you are or anything that you like or anything to really, like, go off of. So they're not just gonna want to continue talking to you about, the weather and the traffic. They want to know something about you. They want to be able to be like, hey, how's your dog doing? Or like, hey, how's your sewing going, or whatever, like, they want to have something to be able to continue to talk with you about. And I feel like that's just kind of like how you form relationships and form like that conversational confidence I was talking about. But honestly, it's something that takes a lot of time and effort on your end. So you don't beat yourself up about it, and don't worry about it too much. I still struggle with beating myself up about conversational confidence, and of course I still get social anxiety, and I still get shy around people and stuff like that, and feel like I don't have anything interesting to say, so I don't say anything at all. But that isn't always the case, and don't beat yourself up about talking to people. I always like to say that if you want to talk to someone in specific and you don't have anything to say, always start off with a compliment. Compliments are often very well received. I've never given someone a compliment and they were like, ugh, get away from me, you peasant. Like, I've never been hit with that before. So definitely start off with a compliment that's genuine. Try and compliment something that you can continue a conversation about. Don't just be like, I like your face. Like, it's really hard to continue a conversation like that. If they give you a polite thank you, you can follow up and ask them a question about the compliment that you gave them, or whatever it is that you complimented them on. So, if you're like, hey, I like your shoes, you could be like, where did you get them? And then they could be like, oh my gosh, I made them. I don't know anybody who's making their shoes, but let's just go with this example. Oh my gosh, I made them. Really? What? That's amazing. That's crazy. How long did it take you to make your shoes? You could definitely sell those online. Blah, 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 blah. And you can just keep rolling the conversation from there. And of course, the conversation's not going to go on for forever. And it's not going to be a 12-hour long conversation. It will end at a point, and don't feel bad when it ends. I definitely feel bad when conversations especially come to a very awkward end, because I'm just like, I could have handled that better. Like, the end of that could have been a little bit smoother, didn't have to be so rocky. But like, don't think about it so hard. The other person is not thinking, wow, that ended really awkwardly, I never want to talk to that person again. I've never thought that in my life, no matter how awkward a conversation has ended. 9 times out of 10, I'm thinking more about how I could have made the end of the conversation, I don't know, more conclusive or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? So yeah, like, try not to overthink it too much. Just practice with strangers. Practicing with strangers is the best, because you will never see them again most of the time. I mean, unless they work at a store that you go to literally every week or every day, like, you're probably not going to see them again. And even if you do frequent a certain place and you see them again, they probably won't remember you. So yeah, practice on strangers. Practice your conversations on strangers. Even like down to, if you think you can practice a certain conversation that you want to have someone with specific, if you want to practice that conversation with a stranger beforehand, go for it. Or like, practice with your family members. Sometimes I practice conversations with my family and they don't even know it. Nobody has to know. No one's gonna know. How would they know? No one's gonna know. So it's good. It's cool. I believe in you, and I know that you can do it. So that's all of the questions that I found. I kind of ran through them pretty quickly, not gonna lie. Maybe next time I will come up with some more, and I will ask you guys on the Instagram for some of your own questions, and maybe we can get this a little bit thicker. I feel like the biggest part of this episode was literally me talking about myself and updating you guys, but I had a lot to update you on. A lot has been going on in my life. I have to keep you in the know, So yeah, last bit of advice I will give is from a friend of mine. They told me that honesty is probably a number one part of romantic relationships. And don't settle if you're not really feeling the person, you know. Don't just be like, oh, they're nice and they do nice things for me, so I guess, you know, I'll go out with them and I'll, like, make them my romantic partner. Like, that's not the way to go. If you're not really feeling strongly about them, do not pursue them. Let them be with someone who they can make happy and who wants to make them happy just as much, you know. They're only deserving of that. We're all deserving of that as human beings. As human beings, not human beings, beings. I guess we're human beings now. Next letter of advice, and the last one, is to be as selfless as possible. Really put yourself in other people's shoes. Think about how other people could be feeling. Think about how the things that you say and the actions that you take could possibly make someone feel. Obviously, don't overthink it too much. Don't be like, every step I take, every move I make is going to have an impact on this person, because it's not. That's not realistic. But what I'm saying is, don't be like completely ignorant about it and just like act recklessly and say whatever comes to your mind because honesty is important and blah blah blah. Like, obviously have some kind of emotional maturity and emotional sensibility, and like be a little bit responsible. You know, you are looking to pursue someone or have already been in a relationship with someone. You know, you do have a little bit of responsibility over how you make them feel. That's the only thing that you can really control. You can control your actions and the things that you say, and you know, you can't control how you make them feel specifically, but you can control the causes of how they feel, if that makes any sense. So, with all that being said, once again, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate and review the podcast on Spotify and Apple. It would help so much. I appreciate all of you for listening, and I will see you in the next 2 weeks, and we will do a whole update, whole story time on everything that went down during my birthday weekend. So, don't be a stranger. Follow me on Instagram at Creative Podcast, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.